So it's time for another month of expenses and seeing where our money went in Europe. So if you're interested in knowing what it costs to spend a month as a couple in Europe, please stick around and see where we spent all our money this month. We have 10 different categories that we use, so we'll give you a pretty good breakdown, so hopefully it'll help you out.
Welcome back. It's Karen and Darmish. We are slow travelers that retired in 2023, and we've been traveling the world since then. And we would like to share our experiences with you. Stick around to find out how we managed our expenses for the month of February. And we were specifically in Saranda, Albania, which is an amazing location on the Albanian Riviera. As we're sitting here and recording this, we can actually look at our balcony and look at the sea view. And we can also see Corfu, Greece at a distance. All right, let's get started.
Let's get started. Okay, so as we start every month with our expenses, we need to let you know what our budget is, what we're starting with. So we have set ourselves at a $2,800 budget, and also for our Canadians out there, that's roughly about 4,000 Canadian. So you'll see that I'll put both Canadian US down at the bottom of each category, so that way you can follow along, not a problem. But we do also need to let you know, we have a disclaimer, that our budget that we're going over right now will be just for our monthly expenses, excluding our flights. We have a separate annual budget for flights, so this is not including any actual flight costs.
Right. So let's start with our first category, which is accommodation.
All right, so for accommodations, we had a total of $780.77 US. Now that was for 28 nights. Basically, February was a shorter month for us. So, and in saying that, we've actually been in Saranda, or we're going to be in Saranda for a full 80 nights. So what I've done is I've actually broken the cost down for a daily rate, and then I've just multiplied by that the number of days in the month. So this is just for the 28 days. If the month had 31, it would be slightly higher, of course.
Correct, yeah. So as far as the location of our apartment, we are extremely pleased, not only with the aesthetics of the apartment, but we're centrally located. We can get around Saranda on foot or anywhere we need to get to. We've got plenty of restaurants, cafes, grocery stores within minutes of our apartment. And we're also only a 30-minute ferry ride to Corfu, Greece. So if we wanted to go across to Corfu for the day, we can also do that. Now, keep in mind that we are here off-season, so the rent is a lot cheaper. Expect to pay, I would say, at least double during high season.
During high season, definitely. Right. And in saying that also, we have run into people as we've been meeting people outside, other expats, that are paying less than we are. So I'd say we're sort of more in the kind of the middle range. You can get definitely for another $200, maybe even $300 less per month if you really wanted to. So yes, I mean, our 780 is in the mid range, I would say.
Right.
So not too bad. We did get some extra comforts and things just because we're here so long.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so our next category is groceries. So this category is made up of 19 trips that we made throughout the month to pick up supplies, and the total was $192.85. So that wasn't too bad at all, because we do like to cook as much as we can at home.
Right. As John said, we mostly cook at home. And we find our grocery shopping as we've been traveling is slightly different than back home. When we were living in Canada, we tended to do grocery shopping once a week. But here and even other places we've been staying at, we've been doing our grocery shopping probably every couple of days. And this way we're also accessing fresh fruits and vegetables every couple of days and not keeping as much stuff in the refrigerators. We did mention in our last video that the selection of stores in Saranda are a little limited. They are a lot of grocery stores. They're just smaller markets. And you can get pretty much most things that we wanted. We may not have as large a variety as we had in Portugal, but I think we've been able to do pretty well with what's here. There's lots of great fruits and vegetables, so there's no issues accessing good farm fresh produce. And since we're also at the sea, you can also get a lot of good seafood here. And keep in mind, when you are in Albania, you cannot drink the tap water. So we've been purchasing bottled water I'll let Dom tell you how much we're spending on water.
Yeah, so since I carry the water,
Yeah.
we buy 2 5-liter jugs. They come in a 2-pack. But per 5-liter bottle, it's about $1.30 US for a 5 liters. So it's not bad. It's just, and there's lots of stores nearby, so it's not that we're lugging them far. It's just around the corner. Also, we should mention that with that fresh seafood, we've actually located a fish shop that's nearby. So what you'll do is you actually go in, you'll pick your fish and how much you want. It's usually by the kg, by kilograms, and then you just let them know if you want them to actually grill or fry it for you, and they'll do it right there for you. So you don't even have to bring it home to cook it, and they don't charge you a lot. It's basically around $1, basically, maybe to fry up a fish. So it's not bad at all, really.
Right. So we've been quite fortunate that we found that local seafood place.
Yeah.
Moving on to talking about eating, let's talk about our dining out expenses.
Okay, so the next category, which is dining out, one of my favorites, as I've always made it evident. The total for the month was $202.55, which is really good for the entire month. As we said, we kind of balanced out between eating out and eating at home, so cooking at home. Now we had 10 trips out that we actually just did snacks, which are coffees or little pastries or something that we just pick up to have to eat. And that was around $46.06. And then for actual meals, we had 12 meals that we did out, lunch or dinners really, and they totaled $156.49. So pretty good.
Yeah, I would say our dining out bill is actually really low considering we had 12 meals out. And we had 10 coffee runs.
Yeah.
Right? So usually we go out for coffee a couple times a week. And that's with friends that we've made some really good friends with our expat group here. And that's something that we should mention that in Saranda, we're not sure about other parts of Albania, but in Saranda, there's a robust expat group. So we've been able to meet them for weekly brunches that happens on the weekend. And then we've also made friends with some of the people, so we usually meet up for coffee a couple times a week. And the prices per meal in Albania have been fairly reasonable.
And as Kieran mentioned, we did join that group, and we've made some really good friends. So we should say shout out hi to Melissa and Dirk. How you guys doing? So, and then we've just started meeting some more people. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully we'll be able to keep in touch with everybody. It's a pretty good community.
Right. And we've actually made really good friends with one of the local restaurants that we go to on a regular basis.
Yes.
And we'll list our name in our description. So check it out when you're in Albania, in Saranda specifically. Right. So let's move on to our next category, which is personal care.
Okay, so for personal care, the total was $58.47. Made up of 2 different items. We've got our clothing, which was $16.26, and our beauty and makeup, cosmetic kind of personal items was made up of $42.21.
Right. So in the beauty makeup category, it's basically consists of things that we needed to replenish, such as toothpaste, lotion, soaps, and that. And then also I had my monthly nail appointment, which was around $21 this month. And then for clothing, because we're not carrying a lot, we're only managing a small carry-on in a backpack. We're limited in how much clothing we can carry. When we got to Saranda, the month of February, earlier in the month, I would say, was a little bit cooler. And I needed to get a warmer track pants because I didn't have warm enough clothing. So that's about all. So we really made the decision to carry less. And if we need it, we can pick up stuff when we get to the places that we're at.
Definitely not a problem there. And that's basically about for that category. So the next one is a pretty standard one for everybody, which is the health insurance. The total was $211.62 US. Now this one, of course, we say that everybody should, or at least we recommend that everybody should have it. Because you just never know what's going to happen. It's for those emergency situations, get into a car accident, because you're not driving. I have no control over it. So we want to make sure if something happens, we're covered for any broken arms, legs, cuts, or any of that stuff. And then we pay the other smaller things out of pocket. I mean,
Right.
traveling the world, and as others might tell you, things are not as expensive as you think. So going into those walk-in clinics for minor little things, checkups and stuff like that, we just pay out of pocket.
Right. And the cost of health insurance will vary based on the age bracket that you fall in. Since we're over 50, our cost is slightly more on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So let's move on to medical care, which we talked about things that we would pay out of pocket.
Yeah. So
what
this
did
would
we
be
spend this month?
yeah, so this would be our out-of-pocket items that we normally do. But we didn't have anything this month, so we've knock on wood, we've been actually healthy, and there's been no concerns or questions for us to go in. In saying that, even though we didn't spend any, we did talk to people as we've been meeting people, and we'll let you know that they've been saying that it's actually really good. The system here, they've been good. We've had some people that have gone in to see doctors and things, and they haven't had any really complaints. They haven't complained about costs or anything like that either. So we actually have some friends that are going for some dental work coming up in the next week or so. So we'll see what they say about that,
Right.
and let you know.
And there's plenty of pharmacies in the area. So if you have minor ailments, you can usually walk in and speak to the pharmacist and they can take care of the medication. So you don't necessarily need to see a doctor for every minor thing here.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our fun category, which is entertainment.
Entertainment category, yes. So for entertainment, the total first was $69.84 US. Now, this category normally, as we've mentioned before, consists of either if we're doing sort of tours, any kind of attractions, if we go watch a movie or something, any sort of entertainment that we do outside of just regular walking around, because we do a lot of walking. So in this month we did do a 1-day trip out, which was a tour with a group of 6 of us in total, and it was to Jericaster and to a location called the Blue Eye. And we actually stopped at a small local village that was basically recommended by our drivers. So yeah, I think that was a pretty good overall trip for us. Karen can give us a little bit more details. I know she's better at explaining places than I am.
Yeah, I mean, even just the drive out to those locations was amazing. I would say for me, the highlight was the ability to visit a local village. And it was actually our driver and his dad that was showing us their family home. And they, talked about what life was like in the village when they lived there. And from there, we went to Jericaster, which was stunning. We only had a few hours in Jericaster. I would say if you're going to be in Albania, I would recommend spending at least a night out in Jericaster. The views were amazing, and it's a UNESCO heritage village. I would say village. Sorry, I should say town. And there's lots of history in the area. And Blue Eye, of course, was stunning. And we'll share pictures from our trip.
Yeah.
But for sure, this was well worth it, and it didn't cost us very much at all. We ended up paying €30 per person. So for what we got for the day, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and we'll go into a little bit more depth in that. If you keep an eye out, we'll do a video because we will be doing a video of Saranda, and we'll have some more details and photos and stuff in there for you for that. So that way you've got some more information.
Right. So let's move on to our next category, which is transportation.
So transportation this month was $0. We did not. We saw it beyond the actual trip, the tour we went on. We haven't really gone on any other day trips or anything like that. Now, not saying that we couldn't, but we just haven't. We've done a lot more walking. Saranda is great. It doesn't matter where you stay in Saranda, from one end to the other, you can walk it. It doesn't take long, so it's been really good. And then, as Kieran mentioned, Corfu is only a half-hour ferry across to get to. Unfortunately, on this trip, we're not going to be able to get out to Corfu. We've used up all our Schengen zone days, so it is part of the zone. So we can't make that day trip out to see it. But we'll do another trip when we come back through the area another time.
Right. The public transportation as well as taxis are readily available in Saranda. I know for us, we were waiting for the weather to be a little bit better, and we're going to be making some day trips out using public transportation from here. So I would think for the month of March, we'll have some expenses for buses and for transportation for sure. But the rest of it, as Dom said, we've just walked around Saranda and we've been exploring the area.
So
Yeah.
definitely.
Let's move on to the next category, which is miscellaneous.
Okay, so for miscellaneous, the total was only $18.14 US, so not very much at all. This category normally for us is consistent of two items, which is the miscellaneous items, anything that doesn't fall into any of the other categories really, and then financial fees. So we had $0 into our miscellaneous items this month. We've been pretty good having everything we needed. And then with the financial fees, it's been more really just the conversion fees and transfer fees from paying for the accommodations and things like that, and using. We have found that it is still very cash based, and so we do need to do a bit of converting into cash. But a lot of the places are starting to use more of the tap and the credit cards.
They do accept euros here as well.
Mhm.
But if you pay in euros, you are going to get your change back in Albanian lek, which is the local currency, or you could pay in Albanian lek. I know we've tapped in some places as well.
Yeah. We've started using the tap a
Yeah.
little bit more now and then as well. Okay, so that's the end of that category. Now, this is our final category coming up, which is our recurring costs.
Mhm.
And for the recurring costs, the total this month was $102.34 in total. So not too bad. Now, these ones are ones that come up every month for us. So it's usually consisted of three items, which is our cell phones, our media subscriptions, and our life insurance. So in this case, cell phones was actually zero. This is our first time having zero for cell phones in a month, because we've been here already, and what we've been doing is actually just using the Wi-Fi from the accommodation.
Mhm.
So because Saranda is so walkable and it's so convenient to get back and forth, and it's not that large, we've been using offline maps, and we've been trying not to need to get the eSIM or SIM cards, and it's been working out pretty good for us.
Mhm.
So this month's been good in that aspect of it. Then for our media and our subscriptions, that's basically our streaming, our cloud storage. So we got to stay up. I got to stay up on my TV movie shows, so I need my streaming, and that was $28.58. So that's something that we're willing to pay the money for, just for those times when we just want to sit and relax and stuff like that. And then the final category in there was our life insurance. We carry our term life insurance still, and we're going to continue that for a few years still. So that totals at about $73.76 exactly. So not bad for that as well. That comes up every month.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that's about all for our recurring costs.
Yeah.
Right. So what's our grand total for all 10 categories for the month of February?
Oh man, so the grand total, I mean, are we over budget? No, we are not even close to being over budget. We totaled only $1,636.58 for the month of February. So that's actually really good. We were shocked by it.
We'll hold 41.5% under budget.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
That was surprising for us.
Right.
I mean, like we said, we didn't do any of those large day trips and things like that.
Right.
We kept to a lot of walking and stuff. So, and cell phones was down. Not that we spend a lot on cell phones either.
But even if we were to get cell phones, I think about 2 gigs of data is only around $7 US. So it's not very much.
So it's not very
right?
much at all. So, but it's overall, it wasn't very expensive, and we're happy with that, because we know that these earlier months, if we can save on our budget and sort of bank those extra dollars into the upcoming months, because our upcoming months we are going to be going to the UK, to Belgium, to France. So we know it's going to be a little bit more expensive.
But we're really pleased, both of us, surprisingly, and way under budget, and very pleased with what we've spent this month. So let's see what will happen in the month of March, since we're going to be in Saranda still.
Yeah.
So that's basically a full breakdown for the month of February and what it cost us to travel in Saranda, Albania this month. We hope that this information has been useful to you. We do try to make it a point to share this with you on a monthly basis. We have had subscribers that have reached out to us that are looking at this type of lifestyle a few years out, and I think they have been finding it helpful. But We would certainly love to hear from you. Give us some feedback. Just let us know if you find this helpful. And we would also love if you could give us some suggestions on other places that we should visit.
So don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification button for any upcoming future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and let's travel together.